All right, all right, all right. We're live at 7:05. Carnivore Soldier coming at you from Austin, Texas. Welcome back to another Hump Day meetup. And you made it another week. And if you didn't, jump back on that horse and ride it like no one saw you fall off, right? We've got some great guests. We got a great topic tonight. Tonight, we're going to talk about cooking meats and ways to cook them. We're talking specifically about air fryers, but also about grills or any other ways we like cooking meat. So if anyone likes cooking meat here, definitely stay tuned. If you want to learn about new ways to cook meat or share your ways of cooking meat, please drop a comment in there. Even if you're watching this later, please drop comments in. I'm going to bring some guests in. First, we got Chad, the minimalist carnivore, and we got DC Learning to Live from down under. And then we got John from Florida. So we got all these guys down. We're all kind of beach guys, I guess, really, right? Chad's from Hawaii initially, and then I grew up in California along the beaches and then moved to Michigan. So I think we all kind of beach guys here. So why don't we go around the horn and start with you, Chad? Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Yeah, my name's Chad. Been carnivore strict 4 years, about 5 years with like meat and nut keto thing that didn't work, and basically lost over 100 pounds doing this. And like the rest of you guys, man, just sharing my story and kind of my experience. I think all of us do, like, you know, just share what we found works.
Yeah. Nice. All right, DC.
Yeah, I'm DC. DC Learning to Live. Been strict keto and carnivore for 9.5 years. Lost a heap of weight, fighting blood cancer, and yeah, so that's my story in a nutshell. Today is Anzac Day in Australia, so that's the reason for the backdrop, and just remembering the people that we lost in our services along the way.
Absolutely. Lest we forget. And then John, carnivore teacher, why don't you share yours real quick?
Sure. I went keto 5 years ago for a year, meat and veg and fruit and nuts, and then went to Ketovore for about 3 years and basically took almost all of the veg and nuts and fruits out. I just had avocado and coffee and a few nuts. And then the last year and 4 months or so, strict carnivore, took out the coffee, took out the rest of everything else, and just upped my game and really improved everything that much more. And I'm not going back. I like it the way it is. I don't want to. I thought about it. You know, you play with it. You know, oh, let me see if I just add a little bit more of this back in again. And I don't like it. I don't like the way I feel. So I go back to carnivore. So we all do little tests. So that's where I am.
That's right. And then you all know I'm a carnivore soldier. I've been carnivore for over 1 year now, strict. And like I've had a couple cheats, and my cheats really are just like Dr. Kiltz's ice cream. Thanksgiving, I had a little bit of a cheesecake that was more keto-ish because it had like, you know, but other than that, I mean, I don't really cheat. I'm pretty strict. Right now I'm on a lion diet. So I went back to lion because I'm in the gym, hitting it heavy and getting great results. I just wanted to optimize my gym workouts. So, and it's working. So having a great time. All right. We got some people coming in. If you are wanting to post a question about any of these air fryers or ways of cooking meat, or you want to post how you cook meat, your favorite stuff, please drop it in here, whether it's meat cuts or it's, you know, techniques or whatever. I mean, we all have our things we're doing, and this is a journey we're all taking together. None of us are experts here. What kind of prompted me on this is just like Chad here, a company called Tasty reached out to me and had an air fryer, wanted me to test it and do a video, which I'm going to do. Chad's already got his video done. And I did compare it to my other air fryers. And I thought, you know what, this is good stuff, because there was a difference. At least I noticed. And I think Chad did too. We talked a little bit about this off air, but in addition to air fryers and we were also going to talk about grills and smoking and different kinds of things. So I think we'll start with actually John. John, why don't you tell us what your favorite way of cooking or preparing meats is at home, whether it's a black iron, you know, skillet or what? And
I use a variety. My first meal of the day is always on my cast iron skillet in the kitchen. I always have 4 eggs almost over easy, almost not even over. I like my yolks really runny, my whites solid. and leftover steak from the night before, or I'll make a bone broth soup with all that stuff in it. So I'll use a pot. But then for dinners, I have a Traeger grill. For those of you, I didn't know what a Traeger was before I found out about a year ago. So I'm going to share a little bit about what that is for the audience. I plug it into the wall, so it's electric, and you buy these wood pellets, these little wood pellets that look like gerbil food, and you pour them into the hopper, and there's this auger based on the temperature that you set your grill. It goes at a certain speed to pull in the wood pellets. The more pellets it pulls in, the hotter it burns, and it gives you your temperature. And then you're cooking on that. You can do it at a low temperature and smoke your meats. We do smoked ribs, smoked chicken wings. You can smoke things real slowly and make them cook deliciously that way. Or you can just use it like a regular oven or a regular grill, take it up to 450, 500, and just cook a regular steak on there and flip it. I also put a cast iron griddle on top of it, and I put butter on it, and I just treat it like my stove in the kitchen sometimes. So I love my Traeger grill, but I also have a regular propane gas grill that every once in a while we'll use. But those are the two main ones that I really enjoy. I do have it's not really called an Instapot. I think it's a Ninja something.
Oh, yeah.
It's an air fryer, and it works. It's great. I think I'm not really good at using it, and I notice I've got more parts to clean and put away, and so it's like every time I use it, I'm like, this is a pain in the neck. So I don't know. I would like to hear how everybody uses their air fryers. Maybe I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah, I gotta say, low and slow is the way to go when you're doing meat. And you can do it in an oven. You can do like a reverse sear where you get the temperature at 225, but I prefer it in a smoker. And then you just let it sit there till the temperature comes up to your medium rare or wherever you want it, and then sear it, right? But hey, we had someone just join us, Robin.
Hey,
Carnivore's
everybody.
grandma.
Hi, Robin.
I don't know if you've met all these people, Robin, but we have the carnivore teacher. We have DC Learning to Live and Chad, the minimalist carnivore here. Have you met them?
I have not met everyone in person yet. So, yeah, I mean, I've seen you guys all around, of course.
Yeah.
But it's really great to be here with you guys tonight. Sorry I was late.
That's okay. Why don't you just introduce yourself and your channel?
Yeah. My name is Robin Heron. My channel is at Carnivorous Grandma. And oh my gosh, what do? I do a lot of cooking. So this is a great topic for me tonight. I love to cook. On Monday nights, I have a show with 4 other ladies that's called Meaty Mondays with the Fierce Felines. And I do a lot of interviewing. I have a standard like Saturday show that I do. It's called Carnivorous Grandma Speaks, where I do a lot of interview. I try to interview practitioners mostly. Well, not mostly, I would say practitioners a lot. And then, just regular everyday carnivores and ketovores and ketoers who are trying to live this lifestyle. So, and then I just do like the normal stuff that you see on YouTube channels like Walk and Talks and Talking Head, talking about different topics and stuff like that. But I really love to cook. So this is perfect.
Nice. Well, we love that you're here. Thanks. And
Thanks for inviting me.
Duke says hi.
Hey, Duke. Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, Big Duke.
All right. Let's go to you, DC. Why don't you tell us about what your favorite way to prepare meat is?
Yeah, I love an open grill. I love barbecue. Apart from that, my next favorite way to eat meat is to almost deep fry it in lard. So like a steak in like an inch of lard on the pan, as it comes out nice and crisp on the outside, really nice and tender in the side in the middle. It's it's just a great way to cook. I love doing that. That's my favorite. I do have an air fryer, but I don't use it all that much because, like John said, I think you just got more parts to wash and to clean up and whatnot. So it does get to be a pain in the neck. We just use it for to cook eggs now. So to do all boiled eggs in the air fryer now. But Yeah, apart from that, the meat wise, either barbecue or yeah, pretty much almost deep fry in the pan. It's really fantastic.
Nice. That sounds really good, man. Next time I come down to Australia, I'll be swinging by.
Yeah, for sure.
I've got 3 air fryers, so I know, and there's a difference between cleaning them. So pay attention to that because the different air fryer designs take different commitment in cleaning, I think, and different, way they're built. So, all right, let's go with Chad next. Chad, why don't you tell us about your air fryer and or other cooking techniques that you like?
Yeah, I'd say my favorite is sous vide, still by a long shot, and then finishing it basically in carbon steel pans. I just prefer carbon steel over cast iron, same indifference. Or on a grill, or use a torch. Kind of depends. I got to get a smoker again. Don't have one. Kind of sad, but I'll get one. I think, the same thing. It depends on what it is, though. Like lamb, I just pretty much straight grill. Sometimes I'll sous vide it for an hour. Chuck roast, sous vide at 131, 132 degrees for 24 to 30 hours. And then finished is like prime rib. Man, there is, in my opinion, for me, no better way to have chuck roast than that. But if I want something different, I'll cook it different. But I tend not to do like chuck roast in a, what do you call it, a crock pot, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Slow cooker. Because I like my meat really rare. Like they were mentioned earlier, the Pittsburgh, I like my steaks blue. Like if I have a ribeye, I want it really rare, like below rare. So that's kind of, I'd say the quick. And I have found the air fryer that we both got, the Tasty, does lamb chops incredibly well.
Yeah.
I got to say they're giving the grill one a run for my money. I think they're a little more moisture with a touch different flavor. I won't say worse or not, but the one big thing that I hit on all the time is dry brining my meat. Basically, you salt it, put it on a rack, put the rack on a sheet pan so it doesn't drip in your fridge. Anywhere from 2 to 3 days is usually what I go for. If it's really thin, maybe a day, but so dry brining is the key for me, and then sous vide.
Yeah, that you just don't want to over dry brine it, because if you do that, it'll get tough.
Yeah.
I've done
like
that before.
2 to 3 on big cuts. The lamb chops are super thick. I have the chuck steaks are super thick. The steaks I have. If it was something thin, like a thin chuck steak, I'd probably do it only for like a day and a half.
And I think the magic of the dry brine is what it is it's it's drying out the outer layer so that when you fry it, because if you fry a fresh steak, it loses an incredible amount of energy flashing that water to steam.
Yeah.
But if it's already dried, then it just starts making a crust immediately and just traps all the moisture in, I think. And that's the magic that I know.
We'll hit that with the Tasty thing too, because when we were talking beforehand, like I did steaks that I normally dry brine, then I pulled one out, patted it dry, and did it normally.
Yeah.
Night and day difference. Dry brine is
interesting.
The way to go.
Good deal. All right, let's hear from the Carnivore's grandma. What do you like to do?
So
what's your favorite?
My favorite, I really feel like the cast iron is probably my favorite, but there's a little bit of a tie going on right now. The weather's breaking a little bit, and I have a natural gas grill out on my back deck. And so I pretty much, when it warms up even a little bit, I'll start to use that almost every single day, and put meat on there. So there's a little bit of a tie. I had a chance to do some picanha. One day last week, my stove just stopped working. It had an error code. And I was getting ready to bake a picanha the regular way, like, high heat, and then turn it down and let it sit in the oven for a couple hours. So the oven wasn't working, so I decided to put it on the grill. And I seared off that fat cap, and then turned the grill down and let it get up to temp. I like my meat about medium rare. And so that was very delicious. That picanha was really good. So I think it's a tie between my my grill and my cast iron. In the wintertime, I'm cast ironing all the time, doing all my steaks and meats, and even if it's chicken or whatever I'm making, I'm cooking it in the cast iron because I just like the way that tastes. So I'll sear it in the cast iron and then put it in the oven until it gets up to the temperature that I like. Now, regarding the air fryer, I have a it's called a Power XL
I
air
have that
fryer.
one. I have that one. I'll be talking about it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What do you think
Yeah.
about that?
It's pretty nice. I really like it because you can take all the pieces out. You can take the door off, put everything in the dishwasher and wash it. It's really easy to clean.
Super easy to clean. Yeah.
Yeah. And I really like the fact that if I forgot to take out, hey, hey,
Nia's
Nia,
here.
if I forgot to take my steak out of the freezer, I
Right.
can just put that steak in the air fryer and
Yep.
push the button one time and it's going to come out a perfect medium rare. So I mean, texture wise, it's not always the best to do it that way, but in a pinch, it works and the steak still tastes good. So yeah, I think between the cast iron and the grill are my two favorites right now.
That's awesome. And to be clear, she doesn't like cooking outside in the winter because she's from Michigan, Kalamazoo, right?
Yeah, Kalamazoo.
Yeah. She's right. And
That's
listen,
right.
that's no joke up there in the winter. Winter up there is legit. Because I
Yes,
went
it
to Michigan State and I'm used to it. Yeah. So if at the winter time you cook indoors, you do not go outdoors. Down here in
Right.
Texas, we can get away with grilling outdoors in the winter
All
time.
year
It's not a
round.
problem. Maybe a little
Yep.
chilly, but can definitely do
Yep.
it. And I agree, though. I do love my gas grill, and I use it a lot. And I like my smoker, and I love my air fryer. I mean, and I have that same Power XL, which I'll be bringing up just to show off, kind of not to show how much it costs and what it looks like. Is yours the clamshell type?
Yeah, with the door that opens.
The door, yeah, the top door, or is yours the front?
No, it's like a front door, and
yours
it
like
comes
an oven.
down.
Yeah.
like an oven.
Mine
Yeah.
actually the clamshell. So you lift it, and then it's got a
Oh.
basket you can pull out and throw in the dishwasher. Which is
Okay.
nice.
Yeah. I like the basket one because you can put things down inside of it. This one you kind of got to slide it in just like an oven.
Right.
And then you got levels so that you can, put something at the top and get it really crispy at the top or something at the bottom. And you got levels inside there. So it's a pretty nice, my mom gave it to me and I love it. It works really well.
Cool. All right. Well, we had Nia join us. Nia, why don't you tell us, introduce yourself and tell us what your favorite way of cooking meat is? So we've all gone around already.
Sweet. Yeah, I've been listening in as I've been finishing up stuff around here. So, yeah, I'm Nia. My channel is Nia's Way, and I like to do different videos about meal prep and also affordability for this way of eating, like feeding a family this way. And so I've done, several different, tried a lot of different cooking methods, I guess I could say. And then I recently got an air fryer. I think it was probably March or something like that. So I haven't had it very long, but I feel like it's completely changed like everything in a positive way because I'm high fat. And so I find the air fryer is just super easy to throw like chunks of fat in there, or like I can pull rendered fat out of there really easily and store it. And so but I've historically always loved to grill, and I would prefer to cook outdoors. I love charcoal. It's probably my number one favorite way to cook, but I live in an apartment right now and, don't really we have grills out here, gas grills, but they're huge and it's kind of almost inefficient to go out and use them just to cook a few things. So the air fryer, I just now put out on the balcony, and so I have the Ninja air fryer, but it's the 6-in-1 with the grill plate. And like you're saying, it's like the clamshell that opens up like that. So it comes with a roasting pan, a basket, an air fryer basket, and then the grill plate. And I got that one specifically because, I want to grill burgers and steaks. And I love that sear, kind of charred edge on there. So, I love mine, and I get comments sometimes about, the coating on there, which I'm sure we'll probably talk about, being like the downside. And same thing with my dehydrator. People are like, well, aren't you worried about the heated plastic, absorbing into your food? And, at the end of the day, I think those are valid concerns, but and that's kind of why I hesitated to get one of these for a long time, because I'm like, no, I should just do everything in the oven or, go out and use the grill or whatever. But it's really made things so much easier, especially for me being strict, and then the rest of my house isn't. So like it's a smaller thing to heat up just to cook like a personal sized, one steak for me or something. And then I can cook everybody else their stuff in the oven or the fridge or on the stovetop or whatever. So I love mine. But if I could, I would totally be like an over the fire charcoal girl all the time.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's so I agree with you. And being a single guy, I have the same. Even though you're married or you're in a relationship and have a family, you still have the same problem I have, that I just cook for one basically when I cook my stuff, right? And my son sometimes. So now the clamshell Power XL I have, I can put 2 ribeyes in it, and that's the reason that I love that one, because I can cook for 2, which I've done for my son, or when friends come over. But the other ones, really, you can only fit 1 ribeye in. And but I love my air fryer. And some of the other things people brought up was the fat. If you're gonna make pork belly or fat trimmings from beef, there is no better way than an air fryer, in my opinion. I don't know, unless you guys know something different. Maybe frying it actually in tallow in a pot. But I love the air fryer, and it just collects all that fat for you, so you can just save it, right? Which is fantastic. So I do love that. All right, and why don't we jump into some comments here? We had some people saying that they do a lot of sous vide. Who does sous vide around here? I think you do, right, Chad?
Yeah,
Sous vide?
I do that a lot. That's probably my number one.
And can you
favorite.
explain that?
That's where you sort of cook it in a plastic bag or something, isn't it?
Yeah, you have a large vessel that holds water. And then you drop a circulator, they call them sometimes, like a wand or a stick in there that's got a heat, and it just keeps it to constant temperature, whatever you set it. So like a ribeye I'll do for maybe 3 hours at like literally only 115 degrees, because I like mine quite rare. And then you just basically finish it really quickly, like a really hot sear or on the grill or whatever you want. But I like it because the tough cuts of meat, like chuck roast, do literally come out like totally pink through the whole thing, and they're tender, if you do that 24 to 30 hours on a cook. And getting to that interior, can I hit on that real quick, Lair?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I don't know. I kind of joke. We've all been eating bad most of our lives before we found this way of eating, so I'm not too worried. If you drive a car with a modern interior, I think you're getting more problems from a modern car interior than you are a bag. The same thing. If you go to a store, think about all the off-gassing in modern stores.
The receipts.
There's no escaping it. And
Yeah.
like even for the sous vide, I've never found an article about the plastic bags that have any issue, because they don't ever get that hot too. That's the one thing. It never gets that hot. And I know we get some I think a lot of people probably get feedback in the comments, oh, I'd never do that because of the nonstick or the plastic. And I'm always like, teach their own.
You got to pick your battles.
Got to be happy. Yeah, got to be happy.
Pick your battles. In the high-end restaurants you go to, that's how they get your steaks ready. They keep them all lined up. They have like one tank that's going to be your medium rares, one's your rares.
Yeah.
And then when you get in, these cuts of beef are nice cuts of beef, and they're just sitting there ready to be seared. That's how they can get it out to you so quick and perfect at the same time. It's very similar to a reverse sear I was bringing up earlier, which I've done, where you can put the steak into an oven, or steaks into an oven at 225 and with a probe, and get it to the temperature you want. Like I like mine about 105, and then I pull them out, then sear them, and they're very nice and bloody in the middle, all the way through. Perfect temperature though, right? And one benefit you get with that, and you don't get with the sous vide, is that it does dry the outside of the steak out while it's in that oven, right? And especially if it's up on a rack. So that's kind of because it circulates the hot air around it.
Now, are you dry brining before that though, or not?
You can do it without dry brining.
Yeah, I know you can, but do you ever do that much or not too much?
I have done it. Yeah, I didn't do it today. Well, I am doing it today. I'm doing it for like a day, not a full. Yeah. After we're done here, I'm going to test out my tasty air fryer again.
There you go.
Throwing it. So here's the other deal. This is the reason we brought it up. And since Chad's talking right now, I'll bring it up here. So the tasty air fryer. Let me share it real quick. Well, let me share my air fryers real quick, and you guys can comment if you want. So let me bring these guys on. Okay, this is the Power XL that I have. It's probably different than yours. This is the clamshell, and I like it a lot because it goes to 450 degrees and has a large basket that allows me to use to put 2 ribeyes in there at once, which is pretty cool. I had to buy an aftermarket grill for it though, because it didn't come with a stainless steel grill. It came with this little low one. So I have one that stands up, it rises out, and it's stainless steel. So you can put the air fryer. This is my other one, my Kasori. I have 3 air fryers, guys. So this is the first one I bought. This one only goes to 400 degrees, which is why I bought the other one, because I had watched a video of how to do a frozen ribeye in an air fryer, but it recommended 450 degrees, and this one only went to 400. Now this one is super easy to clean. This is my go-to when I'm frying pork belly or fat things. It's really big, and it's just a great air fryer. I got nothing bad to say about Kasori other than it goes to only 400. And this is the Tasty, the one that we got sent to evaluate. And I got to say, the Tasty gives the other ones a run for the money. If you're cooking for one, it's really nice. It's got a nice little window. You can look in there. It's got a temperature probe, and it cooks to the exact temperature you want. You pick medium rare, well done, whatever, for some reason, if you want well done. And then it just cooks it to that right temperature. And what I did was I compared this Tasty to the Kasori, and I cooked both of them. I cooked ribeye in each of them at the same time. The Kasori got done faster because the Tasty slowed the temperature cook, and actually I believe the Tasty actually tasted better. And I'm not getting paid to say this; they just provided it to me, and they didn't give me any guidance on how I had to review this. So I think it basically took a longer cook, but it got a better crust on the outside. So I preferred it. The drawback I had with it was it's really hard to read the interface here at the top. It's not as bright as it looks here, in my opinion. And I thought I had a bad unit, but talking to Chad, it sounds like that's common, maybe. So what do you think, Chad? What was your experience with that Tasty?
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. I had another air fryer that I'd gotten from a store, and I actually brought it back, and it was something. It looked like one of these, like the bin kind. And then I have a Breville oven that's also an air fryer, but it's too messy to cook steaks in because it just splatters everywhere. And then I'd rather just grill outside. Agree on the top panel. The probe is cool, and it can actually do a rare steak rare.
It does.
And the nice thing is, even on the rare steak on that one, I do like the fact you can then click a button and drop it or raise it temperature. If you find it's a little not so much, you can actually fine tune each of the things with it. But yeah, I was actually impressed, because I hated air fryers because of the one I had before never could do a steak well because it would just do that. What they call rare isn't rare. And you mentioned the cool, the temperature variance, and they go over that on the website. And again, like Larry, I told them flat out, I'm not going to follow a script. I got to say whatever I want about it. And they were cool with that. It has some weird variable thing, and I think that's the same as the Dreo that you guys are probably familiar with here. And it works. It just works. Like when I do the lamb chops, I put the probe in and I set it to T-bone because there's not a thing for lamb. And the little lamb chops come out this perfect pink. Because you know how lamb chops should be, if you like them that way, like pink all the way through, not this brown to like a little bit of red in the middle. And I actually found on that T-bone setting that it can actually cook a lamb chop easier. And if I'm in a hurry, it's easier just to plug that thing in. Because I can't believe I'm saying this. I use it half the time now for my lamb chops. Because sometimes, I've got 15 and 19-year-old kids, and I can just plug it in, throw it in, and, Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, and to be clear, I used, because the Tasty came with a temperature probe, I used my own temperature probe. The other one, I have a wireless temperature probe that I usually use for good cooking meat. So I put them in so they come out the same temperature. And I set the Tasty to rare because I was afraid it was going to overcook it. I just had a fear that it's going to be, I like medium rare, but I thought, well, if I put medium rare, it's going to be well done or something. I just, you never know. And it came out exactly rare. It was perfect. It was exactly what I wanted. So looks like Missy's got some tips here. She uses parchment paper or foil in the air fryer for easy cleanup and an easy way to save the fat drippings. That's a good idea for sure.
Yeah, I do this with I either use foil. I know some people don't really like foil, but I use either foil or I'll use parchment paper to keep down the mess. So in the Power XL air fryer that I have, it has these trays that you can pull out, like the bottom tray, you can pull it out. And so I'll wrap that in foil so that whatever's dripping down, will drip onto the foil, and it makes the cleanup a lot easier. So I'll do it that way. And I also use the temperature probe. I have it's not wireless, but I have a wired temperature probe that I put inside my steaks so I can get them to exactly the right temperature in the middle. So, and I'll put that.
I've used oven paper before too in the air fryer, but I find it doesn't get that crisp sort of the charred sort of feeling on the outside of the steak. So it's it does cook still, but it just takes a bit longer and doesn't get the right texture. So
that's why I bought the stainless steel razor, and it actually comes with the Tasty. Also, the Tasty does come with a stainless steel grill that you put in there. You don't have to use the Teflon one. It has both. At least mine did. I don't know if yours did, Chad.
Mine did too. And did you try both? I tried both, and the stainless steel thing makes night and day difference.
Yeah, that's exactly what I bought for my XL one too. I always cook steaks on a stainless steel. It raises it up like an inch, and then it lets the air circulate all the way around. You'll get more of that coating, and then you're not touching. If people that are freaking out on the Teflon, you're not touching Teflon, which is nice, right?
Just to hit on the mess, I just use like a little silicone, spoon spatula kind of thing, scrape it out. Because when I eat lamb chops mostly, and then I'll take all that stuff and put it in a bag with all the bones that I keep to make bone broth, and that way I have all that stuff. And then when I throw it back in for the bone broth, all that drippings and everything else is back in my bone broth.
That's awesome. Hey, so let's go back to John now real quick. John, what's your favorite cut of meat that you like to cook when you cook?
Oh gosh, it's hard to. It's the ribeye or the what's the poor man's ribeye called? The eye of round.
Chuck.
Yeah,
Chuck
eye steak.
Chuck eye, the chuck eye. Between those two for flavor, and then I love picanha flavor as well.
I've not had that yet. I need to try picanha.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, we have it. It's all over the place here in South Florida.
Good.
Yeah, it's amazing. What I love about picanha is it comes with this big, thick flap of fat that I actually cut a lot of it off, and then I render that and use that. I keep it in the refrigerator and use it for other stuff. So I get a lot of stuff with that meat. I get the meat itself. I get fat from the meat, and then I've been buying oxtail a lot lately. Even though the price has gone up, I'll get a little package of oxtail, which is barely enough for one person, for like $12. But I'll put it in the crock pot on high for about 5 or 6 hours until all the fat renders, and then I separate the fat and the meat. And then I love using fat. I collect fat in my refrigerator. I have duck fat, chicken fat, beef tallow, the bacon fat, and then I'll use that when I'm cooking other things. And the flavor, try chicken fat when you're making your eggs. It's totally different flavor in your eggs. It's really cool, instead of butter sometimes. So I know I answered a lot with that question, but my eyes light up when you talk about meat.
That's what we're all about, man. That's what we're all about here. So listen, I think Chad talked about the crock pot thing. So I like doing a crock pot, and I do love that because I like to get it going the night before, and the next day I just put it on warm and let it sit out all day, and I'll pick on it and give it to my son and I put butter on there, and it's just, and then I put it in the fridge, and I can just microwave what I want when I want a little bit. It's just so easy for a single person, and it breaks down that tough meat. You get those tough cuts that are really cheap, and they taste fantastic to me. I mean, I love it. All I do is I put my roast in there with bone broth, beef bone broth, and then salt and butter, and that's it. Nothing else ever, and it just comes out perfect every time. And people love it. When I have game night and have kids over, like my son and his friends come over and my neighbors come over, man, they just beg for that crock pot meat, which is great. So I serve it up, man, and it's so good. And they're drinking the broth. They're like, "Oh, can I get a cup of that broth?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, it's like soup. It's so good for them, right? All the collagen, all that salt, all that fat, man. I feel really good being able to feed my friends and family with that and feed myself and have it taste great. So it's just a different flavor palette too. Like totally tastes different than eating a ribeye or a burger to me. I don't know about you guys, but I just like to have a little. It's variety, right?
Yeah.
Nia,
Yeah,
what do
that's
you do for variety when you're cooking? Do you like changing cuts of meat, or do you and preparation styles? What's your go-to?
Man, well, I've been lying for about 30 days, and then I've just started adding some things back in, like egg yolks. And so when I was doing just red meat, that was kind of the challenge. I was like, what different things can I make? And I'm also trying to do it as affordably as I can. So I've been little booper over
She's
here.
cute.
Yeah. I've been buying a lot of whole briskets because they are really affordable. I get them sometimes at Sam's, sometimes at Walmart, and even I just got another one at my local Tom Thumb today for $2.99 a pound.
Wow.
The last one I got for $1.99 a pound around Easter. It was on
Wow.
sale, and I got a whole ribeye from that same Tom Thumb on Easter weekend for, I think it was $5.99 a pound. It was like insanely cheap.
Wow.
So I just put a video up on my channel about breaking those down, and I'm by no means like a professional butcher, but with that brisket especially, I was trying to figure out, like, instead of just throwing it in the slow cooker, kind of like you guys were talking about. Some people love that, but I don't really like it when it's super shredded. Like, it almost just tastes too dry. And even though there's a lot of fat on it, it's like it just kind of renders out, and it's just like the broth is really fatty, but the meat's not. And so I've been using, I cut that down basically, and then distributed the fat so that it was more even, because there's parts that are real lean and then parts that have a lot of fat. And so I've done a couple of them as roasts, but I did them like maybe 2 pounds on the roast setting in my air fryer. So at like 325 for 20 minutes, and then turned it down to, like, the lowest mine goes is 250, I think. And the highest it goes is 550. So I think I did, 325 for 20 minutes and then 250 for an hour. And that was like, the fat was like just perfectly like crispy on top, but still soft. And like, it was just about to fall apart, but not too, soggy or, overly dried out. I was like, this is my favorite now, because I've tried thin sliced brisket, so slicing thin, and I haven't been, the first time it was okay, but I haven't found like the best way to do it. I have made brisket jerky out of the lean part, cut it really thin and dehydrate it, and that was good. So yeah, I just try to find, and I love chuck roast too, kind of the same thing. So I'll just do like a smaller portion, like a 1.5 to 2 pounds in the air fryer, because that's what will fit, and then eat off of that for a couple days. And it's just, there's so much fat on those briskets, you guys, and so cheap. I don't know if that's everywhere or if it's just Texas or what, but I just got another one today because I was like, I couldn't pass up the deal. I'm like, okay, it's my macros, and it's, several things to do with it.
When you say that your crock pot meat's dry, are you searing it really well before you put it in there?
No, I never really did. And I think that's the issue. Like, I've tried a couple times, but because I do have some cast iron, and I just don't like using it on the ceramic stovetop. I know it's kind of like some people do, but I would kind of be lazy, but so that's why I like the air fryer. It's so easy because I just put it in there on 350 or 325 and then just turn it down, and it's like set it and forget it, and it's perfect. And then it just stops when it, turns off when it's done. I wish mine did have the probe, though. It doesn't.
Yeah, I can say that the one we've got here, I have to say, and I would recommend the Tasty air fryer, and I think Chad would too, just because the probe, and it's just easy, but it is small, and it's going to be a single person serving thing. Okay, we have a question, and I guess Chad might be the best person to answer it, but what about silicone bags for sous vide?
Is it old guy carnivore, old man carnivore, Mitch?
Old guy.
Old guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Mitch and I were talking about that too. The silicone bags, the only downside to them is they're thick enough, they get kind of floaty. So you'd have to put a weight in there if you have steak, where the standard bags, I just find the Glad bags work better. But yeah, so they can work, but do know that they tend to float.
I have a question about that, because I've never sous vide.
Yeah.
Are they vacuum sealed as you're sous videing them, so there's no air in them, so they don't float, or what?
You can vacuum seal, and I use a mixture of vacuum sealing sometimes,
Mhm.
and then you can do what they call the displacement method. So you kind of, if you have a Ziploc, and say your container's here, you drop it, push the steak down the water with keeping the top of the Ziploc out, so it kind of self-compresses onto the meat. Does that make sense? As it
Yeah.
gets pushed into the water, and then you just basically get the little Ziploc, right above water line, and then zip it up. And they'll call that like a displacement
Do they ever have a sous vide where you put something in glass, a glass container?
The only thing you could do that's close to that would be canning style. And I've thought about doing like a canning method in the sous vide just to see how it works.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that could, right. I mean, if you guys have ever canned, that's the same.
Yeah.
Right. Oil in the water.
Philosophy of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except
I'm
it
one of
wouldn't be
the
as hot.
I'm one of the plastic phobic
Okay, if you
people.
did, what I
do it
would
in
say to
plastic.
do, and I haven't tried it yet, so I don't know. I would think if you got most of the airspace out, you would want to use some like bone broth in there, because the problem is if it was just meat in the glass, there's no way for
Oh, that
the
makes
heat.
sense.
Does that make sense?
To
touch
conduct,
the meat through
to
the
con- yeah,
exactly through the
okay.
glass. So
I got you.
I was
Yeah.
going to play with that just for those, because again, if you don't want that, and especially, man, with your history, too, I know with the cancer, everything, I could see why you're probably.
That's not me. That's yeah.
Oh, that wasn't you?
That's DC.
That's the other.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I thought that
DC,
was you,
yeah,
because I
yeah.
know some people don't want any of that stuff. But no, I'm just curious, like, why don't you want it? Just
Well,
because you're trying to be optimal?
Well, I have control. This is something I have control over.
that makes sense.
And so I don't like everything in my house. I try not to have plastic. The bisphenol A is
Okay.
it's estrogen-like compound that messes up your hormones. It's like the stuff on the receipt.
Yeah.
And there are things I have a lot of control over by making very simple changes. And so I don't want to cook with that. For me personally.
Oh yeah, it makes total
So
sense.
I wanted to just chime in here because there's and I don't have one of these, but I've heard of this sous vide machine that's like you can use different kinds of vessels inside of it. And I'm trying to think, did I see this on like Indigo Neely's channel or somebody like that had the sous vide machine that was not, where you didn't have have
Instant
to have a
pots
plastic
have
bag
sous
or
vide. Was that it?
You didn't
Maybe
have to have
like
a
an
plastic
instant
bag.
pot thing? Because the
it's like
instant pot.
it looked like a big box, like
Okay.
So and
if
you could
it
do
looked
things
like
like
a big
roofing
vacuum
inside of it
sealer?
and sous vide.
Did it look like a big vacuum sealer with a lid on it? Do you remember? Because those are commercial ones.
I
They do
want to
make
say,
these
to me,
commercial
it
ones.
looked like a big square dehydrator type of a thing.
Okay.
It was big.
Because that's what the
and-
commercial kitchen units look like, is like a big square stainless block
Mhm.
with usually a lid, And I have a friend that works at a restaurant, and he's talked about that. And they just use that. They have these giant circulators and just use a huge,
Right.
so, thing.
James Nelson says that sous vide can really tenderize the toughest meat.
Yeah.
That's true of any slow cook technique, which could be smoking. That's why I love smoking, because you're also imparting the smoke flavor, but and also a reverse sear where you put in the oven at a low temperature. Low and slow is the way to go, and any of those, including sous vide, will definitely break down the meat and make it super tender. Even your
with a
tough
totally different, like we're all talking, a totally different texture, totally different taste, and totally like the sous vide, since it never gets above that temperature, you can keep a chuck roast completely pink and rare, but it won't, in part, and like Lara was saying too, like, it won't necessarily dry it out. It cooks as its own juices, which can be good or bad. Like I dry brine before. I think that's what the great thing is you can take like a chuck steak and you can cook it 3 different ways. And if you fed it to people, they might even think, if they're not big meat eaters like us, they would probably think it's, 3 different cuts of meat.
So James Nelson says brisket, best brisket is them 40 hours in the sous vide. Wow. And 3 hours in the smoker.
What's your
brisket ever
temperature,
made.
James? That you do
what's
that
the
in there
temperature?
for? I know a lot of people do it around 143, I've heard, or 143 or something like that. Something weird, odd that I've heard people do that.
Interesting. That's interesting.
That seems like a lot of work. for me. Like, one of the best things about being carnivore is you save time cooking. And you're spending a week cooking a piece of meat.
It's
well, now
not,
brisket
though.
in brisket in Texas, you're going to put something on. It's going to take 8 to 12 hours to cook a brisket. But if you and briskets are a huge cut of meat, man. We're talking giant meat that everyone eats as a group. You don't just
like
make
a
brisket for yourself.
15-pound. A single cut is 15 pounds.
Yes, and what you do. So I usually go to the barbecue to buy brisket and pre-smoked. But if you want to do your own, if you're going to have an event like Thanksgiving, we do brisket, right? We bust out a brisket and smoke that thing all day, but it's on a Traeger. It's automatic, really. I mean, you're just going and checking on it, and maybe basting every now. It's not really a lot of work.
And
it's not like it used to be. You're not making a bunch of sides.
No, the sous vide is the same way. Like when I do chucks, I'll usually do like 4 at a time, and it's just basically bagging them up, put them in there, and as
just
long as
a timer.
Well, the timer's on there automatically, so then when they're done, I just put the other ones in the fridge, and you can then it's cooked. So when you want it, you can just pull it out, sear it for a couple minutes aside, and you're good to go. Or even have it cold, and then it's kind of like cold cut roast beef. I think it's like anything. It's that kind of, if you get in the routine of just having it prepped, then it's all ready. Because I have stuff dry brining all the time.
And I don't spend a lot of time doing that. It's just for special occasions. But like a ribeye, so this is why I do like the air fryer. Like DC just said, I'm a single guy. I like to just be able to cook something on the fly, because I also don't adhere to breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I adhere to, hey, I'm getting hungry. What can I eat right now? Boom, I'm just going to pop that thing out, because I work from home, so I have that flexibility. I don't have to do a 3-meal during certain time period thing. So I rarely eat breakfast, and then if I just want, like, I have a ribeye right now in my microwave, sitting there just at getting room temperature with salt on it, just getting ready, and I'm going to pop that sucker. It's just sitting in the microwave so that it's off the counter, so the dog won't get tempted. Because Duke's a good dog, but he's a dog. I mean, he's not. If I let the ribeye on the counter, he might. It might be too much for him. He has. Good boy. I know. I'm talking to you. Yeah, he's a good dog. But okay. So let's see. We have people talking about a Dreo Chef Maker. I don't know what that is.
It's an air fryer. Dante uses.
Oh, is that what he uses?
That one that he uses is the Dreo. Yeah.
That's the one that does steaks. It's designed for doing steaks, right? I think.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's the same one like the Tasty. It has the variable temperature and variable stuff in there. I think it's the only one that uses a built-in probe besides the Tasty that actually does the variable temperature.
Which I like. Yeah, I think it's great. So here's your safety concern with non-stick. So yep, we got that out of the way.
We have that issue with our air fryer. The pan that goes in the middle. That you set in, it's the clamshell in the pan, that's non-stick, and it's chipping off. Which means it's getting in the food.
Well, so you can buy a third party.
We're going to have to.
Third party stainless steel rack.
We're going to have to do
that. It's called accessory kit, and I'll send you the link in email.
All right.
In fact, I'm going to put links to some of this stuff in the video description in case you guys are interested. Just because, not that I'm trying to sell this stuff, I'm just going to post it because some people might want to look at them and compare. So the non-stick stuff, it will flake off. Again, it's probably not the best for you, but let's see, anything else in here? I don't see.
Are any of the air fryers that you showed earlier made of a different type of material other than plastic? I know that my Power XL, it has it's plastic. It has a plastic door. The inside is lined with steel. I don't know what kind of metal it is. It looks like a metal inside, and the trays that you use inside of it are all metal, but the container itself is plastic.
Well, so I will show you the let's see.
I don't think you can get away from plastic completely. Everything has plastic. Everything's made of plastic, but the part that gets hot,
plastic on the top
needs to be metal.
This has plastic around the side, so they all have plastic. But they're all metal on the inside.
The Breville oven I have that's an air fryer, like I said, the only downside is the door gets kind of dirty, but it's actually it's like the toaster oven. It's like a large toaster oven, and it's the oven we use. That's all like metal inside. There's no plastic.
Right.
I don't think there's any plastic on the Brevils anywhere. They're also pretty expensive, but they work incredibly well and they're quite large. So there is a way to get them without it. It's just the cleanup is kind of, it goes all over. But I have an outdoor kitchen.
Those old toaster ovens are pretty good too, actually.
Yeah, and that's what this is a Breville toaster oven / and it also does air fry, kind of thing on it. It has like a different thing. It wasn't cheap, but like I said, we use it for our main oven all the time because I hate the big ovens.
So Arlene does pressure cooker. I don't have a pressure cooker. When I grew up, we had one, and my mom used to make tongue in it, a beef tongue, in the pressure cooker. That was the big thing. But
pretty dangerous though.
What's that? Oh, it's dangerous. Yeah.
They can be
You have to lock it down, steam coming out. They're high pressure, right?
Yeah.
I love my pressure cooker now. If I wanna cook a chuck roast in an hour,
exactly. That's
a pressure cooker. You can't be beat.
Right?
It can't be beat. It's. I have the. I used to have the old fashioned kind with the, the little thing that's on the top that jiggles around, and it's a little scary actually using
the Boston Marathon style, right?
But
Colonel Sanders used for his chicken when he first started his Kentucky Fried Chicken. He started out. Yeah, he started out using pressure cookers.
Yeah.
Wow. I think today that's one of the secret things is it's pressure cooked. Their chicken. Yeah.
Because I use that for chuck steaks.
There's a good reason why they secret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Recipes. Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Pressure cooker is a great tool. Actually, I love that too.
I use it, like I said, the chuck steak, the thin cut chuck. Grill it, then cut it into whatever size you want, 1.5 inch kind of slice cubes. Throw it in there. I do mine for only 7 to 9 minutes. And then I let it pressure release for 15 and pull it out, and it's all in that juice. And then I just eat it right out of the big.
You're making me so hungry right now.
I'm getting really hungry, so we're not going to be talking too much longer because I do have to do my ribeye. But I've seen. If any of you guys had beef bacon, I love bacon, and I have not had beef bacon yet. But I also saw lamb bacon today. Someone posted lamb bacon. I know.
Oh.
Have you guys heard of that?
Mm-mm.
No, I haven't heard of that.
I heard of lamb bacon.
But it makes sense, lamb's really fatty, so it'd be great bacon.
I just saw it today. I saw it. It must have been on Twitter, I think, or X. Sorry,
I have to try that because I love lamb fat.
Yeah, I love lamb.
Good flavor.
Let's. If anyone finds lamb bacon, let's share that because that if anyone in the chats in the comments, please post if you know anything about lamb bacon. Because I saw it today and I thought, wow, that looks really interesting. I do love lamb.
I think I saw lamb bacon on that. If you guys have heard about Billy Doe Meats, which is it's a place where they don't age their meats. It's called Billy Doe. I'm pretty sure I saw that they sell lamb bacon on their website. That was the first place I've ever heard of it.
That would be amazing to try. I would love to try it.
Yeah,
I would buy it just to try it. That's a cut of meat I would just try. I'm going to buy some.
Yeah. Actually, if you do lamb, if you do it, it's sear the edges of it. If you cut it small and do bite-sized pieces and sear each piece, and it comes out crispy on the outside. It's always nice and soft inside because it's really fatty. But if you really crispy on the outside fat, it's absolutely delicious.
I know in the U.S. at least, and I'm sure it's the same in New Zealand and Australia, because that's where a lot of it comes from. Lamb's not aged. All our beef in the U.S. is always 30 days wet aged in the cryovac bags, and lamb they won't do it. And all of the places here, at least, like Costco and everything, it's always halal too on top of it. So technically, some other precautions are taken, but it's never aged.
Interesting. Hey, we got a question from Josephine. How would you cook eggs if you don't have a stovetop? All I have is an air fryer, slow cooker, and microwave. I'm missing my scrambled eggs.
DC, you're up.
Yeah, the air fryer is great for cooking eggs. If you want to do boiled eggs, the air fryer is fantastic. You just go turn them over once, make sure they're cooked on both sides, and I think it's 18 minutes is the perfect time. And now air cooker, and they come out perfect. They shell easier, as well. But don't take them straight from the fridge and put them out. It's good to put them like on the like bench temperature, like air temperature, room temperature, I should say, for at least 10 minutes before you put it into the air fryer. That makes it easier to peel afterwards. But really good. Yeah, fair.
So can you do scrambled eggs in it? I guess you could. Like my basket, I assume I could do scrambled eggs in there, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, like with scrambled eggs, like I mean, if you're gonna do it in the air fryer, you're basically gonna make an omelet and then sort of mix it up afterwards. You know.
You can do scrambled eggs in the microwave too, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. So, question from Beth: where did you find lamb bacon? I think I saw it on on X today. I was looking at X. I think I saw lamb bacon. I was just taken aback. I didn't actually find where it was at. Oh yeah. So Josephine says I can make deviled eggs. Yes, you make deviled eggs for sure.
Absolutely.
I love deviled eggs too. There's some great recipes out there too that are no mayonnaise, or you can make it with your own mayonnaise, like I do. I make bacon mayonnaise for my deviled eggs, which is fantastic. If you haven't tried it, you definitely need to. Next time you're going to an event and you need to bring something, bring deviled eggs and make them from home. People will love them, and they just taste great. So people love my deviled eggs.
Do you have the recipe up on your channel?
What's that?
Do you have the recipe up on your channel?
My deviled eggs, I don't. My mayonnaise, I do. I haven't done the deviled eggs yet. I'm going to do. I have mayonnaise. I have reverse seared steak, smoked reverse seared steak. I've got my frozen air fried. I've got some other recipes, meatballs. But yeah, I've got some. What's your all? Okay. Do y'all have recipes on your channel? Go around the room here, starting with Chad. And if you do, what's your favorite one on your channel?
Probably the sous vide cooking. You know, that's kind of an overview of the sous vide and the chuck roast. That's the main.
And that's on your channel?
Yeah.
Okay. DC, do you got any recipes on yours yet?
Yeah, I've got a couple of one recipe, a one ingredient man burger. You just chuck the mince in the pan, squash it down, and put the lid on it. It's all good. The most complicated my meals get is I add salt to it. That's about it. But I do like actually my favorite dipping would be a raw egg. Like if you could take it straight from the pan and you just dip it straight in a raw egg, that's perfect with a bit of salt.
Cool.
You guys are too fancy.
I did watch a video on cooking mincemeat, or what we call ground beef, and how most people stop when it's just boiled meat because the steam's still coming off. And in this video, they demonstrated that you just cook it beyond that, and it starts caramelizing. The moisture comes away, and then the outside starts browning really well, and you get that caramelized fat, and the aminos and everything, and it just tastes better when you do it that way. It's more
Way
crumbly.
better.
So
it's really good if you can. All I do is just squash it down. I don't add anything to it. It just stays in one big burger, and I cook it like it gets like a thick crust all around both sides.
Yeah.
It's still nice and moist inside because it's kind of fatty meat. But then when you put it on the plate, all the fat that came out of it just pour straight back on top of the burger, and it just soaks it up like a sponge.
So
and it's delicious.
Right, John?
delicious.
I have several on mine, and the one that seems to be the most popular is how to make bone broth.
Nice.
I did a how-to step-by-step. It's so easy, and I just all the bones go in a bag, and then when it's time, the crock pot gets turned on. You add water, cook it on high for 12 hours, scoop it out, and you get a lot from it. You get the bone broth, you get the fat that comes to the top the next day in the refrigerator that you can use for other things. And then I make bone broth soup out of it, but I've done other cooking ones too.
So my sister, when she came for Thanksgiving, she brought 2 big jars of bone broth homemade that she brought for gifts for each person,
Nice.
plus a thing of tallow for each person that she
Beautiful.
rendered. It's like, what a great Christmas gift.
Yeah.
I mean, that if you
That's
have
good.
a carnivore to buy Christmas gifts for, to make, that's such a great gift.
For people like us, I can see somebody
Yes.
else who's not a carnivore receiving one of those. Like,
No. If you're a
What the
carnivore,
hell?
it's fantastic. Yeah, I love that. And if you're a carnivore, and
Oh,
the
yeah.
best part was her bone broth was from the Traeger. It was smoked bone broth.
Oh,
So have you done that,
wow.
John?
Yeah, no, I have not. I have not.
Smoked
Well, some of the
turkey
bones,
bone
some of the
broth.
bones were from the Traeger. It's like a mixture of all different bones. So some
Yeah,
of them are.
do a dedicated smoke one. Collect all the fat and make a smoked bone broth.
Great
Listen,
idea.
that was off the hook amazing. So if you guys
You're
haven't
making me
tried that,
salivate.
something to
Throw
consider.
your bones back on a sheet pan and then smoke the bones.
Yeah,
Put them back in
exactly.
the
Just
oven.
get that
And
smoke in
that
there.
actually really adds. That's what I do with all my bones. I
Do
throw
you?
them back on the sheet pan, then
Oh, wow.
recook them and caramelize them. Basically, I make it in an instant pot, you know, but same in difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, recooking the bones.
All right, Robin, you're the cook here. I know you like cooking a lot of stuff, so you probably have a lot of recipes. If you had to just share one with me, what would it be? What would be yours? Your go-to? If I was coming to your house, what would you make for me?
Heart attack meats, any kind.
Okay.
So Rick at Charger Mopar fries his meats in bacon grease. And so I've done several different kinds of meats. He calls it heart attack style. And I fry them in tallow. So, you know, I have a whole bunch of tallow from rendering all these beef fat trimmings that I eat all the time.
Right.
So
Great.
I will fry up heart attack pork chops, heart attack chicken, heart attack hamburgers, heart attack any kind of meat. It's so good. So those are the recipes that seem to get a lot of traction on my channel. If I have to choose one, I'll choose heart attack meats.
Okay, that works. Now, can you do a burger patty in heart attack style? I guess you could, right?
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
kind of interesting. I would be interested in doing that. I might try that.
Delicious.
Lisa
So
D
good.
says it's hard to find tallow in Canada. Now I buy, I think it's a Chicago meat packing company or something from Amazon. I buy Wagyu tallow, and it's great. So if you can't get it around town, you can go to Amazon. They'll deliver it to you. Most places, I imagine. I don't know about Canada, but I know in America we do.
I generally render my own tallow.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go and I buy my, I go buy ribeye fat trimmings from my butcher shop. And when I render that down, my stepdad is like the brisket king. So he gives me tons of brisket trimmings to render.
Nice.
So I get a lot of tallow that way. So you can always render your own if you can get beef fat trimmings from your butcher shop and just render it down. It's real easy to do.
I render my own too, but I do like the flavor of the Wagyu tallow. It's got a flavor that's a different palate. I mean, it's good.
Yeah.
I have a separate jar for brisket
Wagyu steak's
trimming
great.
tallow also, because the brisket tallow tastes a little different than the other
Oh, does
tallow
it?
too. And I like that because then I don't know if you guys, I have like 3 different jars of different kinds of tallow, kind of based on what I like. And the
Yes.
brisket tallow is really soft. I love it because it never hardens quite like the, other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Nia, you're up. We're going to close it up after this. So go ahead and take it home, Nia. Take it home.
Oh, recipes. I enjoy coming up with different things. Probably the most popular one that people have liked is the beef jerky, the dehydrated beef jerky, the ground beef jerky that I made. But I've made because I was like living on that for a while, and I'm about ready to add ground beef back in and see. I was wondering if I had a histamine thing with that, but I'm going to try adding that back in because I miss my ground beef jerky. And you just spread some tallow on that. I do the same thing you guys do. I have like a giant jar and I kind of just mix it all together. I do keep the beef separate for myself now, but I'll mix like pork and beef together. And I've made tallow balm, like purified it using the wet method and made tallow balm from just rendered fat that has come off of meat. So it was, completely free. I have a video on that. So, I mean, if you have enough fat left over, you can make start making some of your own skincare products like that, which the tallow balm has been really great for my skin, I feel like. And I guess the pemmican bars would be the other one that I think people liked. And
yeah.
I tend to use, quite a bit. I like those. They're a good grab and go snack that's simple and you can kind of, again, tailor it to what, you know, if you're higher protein, higher fat, you can add seasonings if you want. It's customizable. So that's what I would say.
That's awesome. And it's an acquired taste, but I love that stuff. Pemmican's really good. So we have 77 people watch right now. Listen, if you aren't liking and subscribe to these other YouTube people, please go to their channels. You'll see them here. They'll be listed in the description down below afterwards. And like their channel, like their stuff, and subscribe to their channels. We're trying to grow this, and these are the people that are changing the algorithm, that are changing the narrative, that are getting the message out. These are the people that are making content for all of us, right? And our kids and our grandkids. We're gonna turn the nation around, or the world around. We got to do it here at this level. So please like and subscribe and follow. I'm going to drop you guys out. If you can stick around a little bit, we could talk for a few minutes afterwards. Not long, but I'm going to drop you out and say goodbye, guys. So thanks for showing up. Really appreciate y'all.
Ahui-ho.
Bye, everybody.
See you, everyone.
All right, guys. That was a fantastic show. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you guys. Looking forward to seeing you next week. And also, if you're going to KetoCon, look me up. I'll be there. I will be at Hack Your Health this year, along with a lot of other providers. I mean, there's a lot of our content creators and medical providers will be there. It'll be a lot of fun. So anyway, thanks a lot, guys. All I got to say is stay strong and overcome. Carnivore Soldier, out.